writing well. I'm reading a book called On Writing Well. It's right there in the back. It's a book about improving your communication and writing skills in order to be more confident in your way of writing and only writing in a way that you would be discussing with other people. So don't use language that you wouldn't use in a discussion or conversation with other people. It's a great book so far. It's more about actually removing words and filler words like the politicians use to be more clear and be more direct in the way you use your language. So what I'm also doing is I'm having notebooks everywhere so I can take notes and practice my own writing in order to put my thoughts on paper and also using a dictionary so that when I see new words that I want to use, for example, for my public speaking, I can search them up and improve my vocabulary by also using them when I'm speaking. And a lot of times it's actually to make things more simple. So instead of making things more difficult just for the case of it, some people do that. It's actually to make it more simple so that more people can understand you and you can communicate. Communicate means that the other person understands what you're saying. So it's very important that you use a very clear and direct way of communication so that the other part understand what you're trying to say. And when you're trying to influence, it's not the same as just normal way of communication, but it's more about asking the right questions about the other person in order for them to talk about themselves. Because when you want to influence someone else, you don't want to talk about yourself because the other person care mostly about themselves and not about you. But in this book, he's actually saying, write for yourself, not for anyone else. And it differs a little bit from sales because in sales, you always want to write about the customer and about what the customer like. But I understand what he's trying to say is that every person is different. So you cannot just always think about, will this person not like what I'm writing here? Will this person not like what I'm writing here? So when you're writing an essay or you're writing a blog, be yourself truly. Because if you're not yourself, you cannot communicate clearly with your language. And people like originality. That's what's missing today. Because people have forgotten who they are. And then you cannot communicate clearly because you cannot think clearly because you're not yourself. Because you played a character for so long, so you forgot who you are. And that's why you cannot communicate clearly. But when you're self, truly, you can communicate clearly. And people understand you for your unique way of being. So remember this, and yeah, it's a great book, and I'm looking forward to completing it. It's over 300 pages, um, but I like it so far. I read 40 pages today, just starting out, and also finished the book Nikola Tesla, his self biography. Very smart man, very smart man, and I learned some things about his life and how I can use it to my own life. For example, he moved to America. He said that America seemed to be 100 years behind Europe in civilization. But then, when he was living there for some time, he said it was actually 100 years in front of Europe in civilization. So it's interesting. Also, a great book, great characters. So, a tip from me is to read self biographies because it's like a mentor and you can learn from their life and their mistakes on what to do and what to not do. Especially if you have these people as your role models, you can do similar things like they did. So read the same books or go into the same type of business like they did if you have a similar personality or traits like they have. So it's a very great way to improve and find who you really are. That was about the video. Have a great night.